Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
New at noon right now, authorities in North Dakota are searching for an inmate that walked away from a work release program in Dickinson. 26-year-old Bryce Reisenauer has been on the run since February 22nd, but police just notified the community of this the other day. Reisenauer has a history of run-ins with the law, including burglary, dealing in stolen items, and possession of meth. If you have any information about him or see him out and about, you should call 911 right away. We have new information for you right now on the 2020 election. The field for the Democratic nomination has narrowed even further. Just hours ago, Senator Elizabeth Warren ended her campaign. The Massachusetts senator made the decision after disappointing results on Super Tuesday. She lost every state to either former Vice President Joe Biden or Senator Bernie Sanders, including her home state. She has not announced if she will be endorsing Biden or Sanders for the Democratic nomination. Taking a step outside, it is a windy one out there. Hard to tell on this view right now, but as soon as you walk out the door, you know it. For what we can expect for the rest of our day, let's head on over to First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Justin Fanfarelli.
And thank you, Jordan. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, the wind, the main story as we make our way into the afternoon hours. Here's a look at the current wind speeds and directions. We got a northerly wind, a really cool wind between 30 and 50 miles per hour in most places as of right now. And that's giving us wind chill values in most places into the mid-teens to lower 20s, depending on where you are. Actual air temperatures, not that bad for this time of day and this time of year, as most of us are into the upper 20s and lower 30s, but the wind is making it feel even worse. Now, most of the snow that we had this morning has moved well off to the east. We're actually starting to see some clear skies in our western counties, but as you make your way across Lakes Country, as you make your way into Otter Tail, into Becker County, some light snow shower activity. This should continue to dissipate, just some reduced visibility in that area. We'll have decreasing clouds through the afternoon with highs in Fargo around 34 degrees with that breezy to windy conditions. They will continue through the afternoon. Now, we will have a mild end to the work week and weekend. We'll tell you how warm we're going to get and when our next chance of some snow showers is. That's coming up later in the newscast.
All right. Thank you, Justin. A federal jury convicted a Minnesota man for impersonating a Border Patrol agent in New Mexico. This guy on your screen right here, 45-year-old James Benvey, was found guilty on 2 counts and faces up to 6 years in prison, according to court records. Benvey was the leader of a group who set up a camp at the southern border and would stop immigrants that he suspected were crossing the border illegally. He would identify himself as a Border Patrol agent, and the group wore badges and camouflage while carrying pistols and assault rifles. Authorities say that Benvey would stop and interrogate the immigrants before turning them over to actual agents. Florida officials say the woman dubbed the killer grandma can return to Minnesota to stand trial there. Lois Reese is serving life in prison for a 2018 murder in Florida, but has not yet been tried in her husband's case in Minnesota. Minnesota police allege Lois killed her husband, David, in their Blooming Prairie home, then took off to Florida, where she killed a woman to steal her identity. There's no word on when Lois will actually arrive in Minnesota. A North Dakota State Hospital inmate accused of assaulting and trying to kill a staff member last year has been found not guilty. 32-year-old Jason Benfield was accused of choking, hitting, and kicking an employee of the state hospital in March 2019 while he was a patient at the facility in Jamestown. The court concluded that he was not criminally responsible because he did not have the capacity to understand his actions. The death toll from Tuesday's tornado outbreak in Tennessee is at least 24, but search teams are still looking for victims. The twister that hit Putnam County was an enormous EF4, packing winds of 175 miles an hour. It left a debris field 20 football fields wide. Sam Brock reports from Tennessee.
In Middle Tennessee this morning, historic damage. Devastation caused by a monstrous tornado as far as the eye can see.
Went right over us and everything just went off, blew up, it was gone. And that was all that's left is a half a wall and the door to the bathroom.
We're now hearing the first frantic 911 calls from when the twister tore through.
Every house out here is tore apart.
The tornado destroyed my house and my parents are trapped.
It's the kind of storm capable of flinging a pickup truck into a pool.
We're still breathing, you know. There's people out there that lost loved ones, and it's a worse situation than we are.
With their neighbors hurting, people pitching in to help.
What's that been like? How many people have come out to volunteer?
It looked like there was 1,000 people up there.
It's amazing to see how many people are.
That's crazy.
In battered Putnam County, 90% of the massive debris field has now been cleared by search and rescue teams looking for the missing.
We have made some great progress today. We have decreased the number of unaccounted persons to 3.
Still, more of the tornado's victims were identified. Among the dead, at least 4 children under the age of 10. The death toll could have been even higher. First responder Andrew Farner summoned his neighbors and helped a half-dozen people escape with their lives in Cookeville, including his own in-laws. Hours later, he was back at it volunteering.
Our emergency responders, I'm telling you what, that night was amazing. When they got here, it was like angels coming. I mean, those are my people.
You're an angel too.
I'm a member of this subdivision, and this is how we roll.
And on the ground level here, the breadth of the damage is hard to even describe. Somewhere between 125 and 200 homes just in Putnam County are either destroyed or substantially damaged. There are gas pumps that have been ripped up. I'm standing on what used to be a gas station. And down the road right here, we saw a gentleman walking around with headgear on, listening to try to find the nearest water break, which is somewhere in this area. The damage both above and below ground, meaning that a rebuild is going to take months to really get moving. In Cookeville, Tennessee, Sam Brock, NBC News.
Officials in the area say that it could be weeks until the county is accessible for travel. The coronavirus outbreak could end up costing airlines $113 billion in lost revenue. The International Air Travel Association says this would be due to the collapse of air travel. The group also says that the industry will need government assistance to help struggling carriers. An original estimate for lost revenue 2 weeks ago put the loss at less than $30 billion. The biggest losses would be in the Asia-Pacific region, including China, which has by far the most cases of the virus. In our consumer alert this afternoon, Starbucks is suspending its use of personal reusable cups. Starbucks says it will continue to honor the discount if you bring in the reusable cup, but it will serve those customers their drinks in a disposable one for now. It's part of the coffee giant's response to that spreading coronavirus outbreak. It has also directed stores to clean more thoroughly and more often. Several studies have suggested your cell phone is dirtier than a public restroom. Experts say you should clean your phones at least once a day. Apple recommends using a lens cloth like you'd clean your glasses with. Most phones now have at least some water resistance, so a little soapy water kept away from the ports should be okay. Apple and Samsung both advise against using disinfectant wipes or rubbing alcohol because the cleaners can damage the fingerprint-resistant coatings. But some experts say they've done it anyway and they didn't have any problem.